Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to, yes, coffee time. And I have my freshly brewed coffee right here, so I'm able to talk a little longer today if you guys want to stick around. So just before I start, of course, my usual tradition will be saying some hello to everyone here. Good afternoon, Claude and Phil, Jeff, Terry, Seraphine. Hello from Orlando. Yes. Cool. Right, what's the weather like in your area? Because London is absolutely horrible today. It's raining, chucking down rain since this morning, really. And took my kids to school, and I had to drive. And usually we walk, so a little bit of exercise is quite good to walk in the morning, right? But this morning, nope, I had to drive because yeah, it was just too wet to walk around. And yeah, so I hope that you guys would have some bright sunny days where you are, and be able to just go out to enjoy some sun, to take some photographs, right? And that's what we all wanted these days, just to head out and be free, with your camera. So I make this live stream today. Is nothing really special. It's just basically reflecting some of the comments that I received over the last, I would say probably about a month, and there are some on and off comments popping in my mailbox, and also, commenting my videos, so forth. Because you can see that if you've been following this channel, be subscribing to my videos, you know that I've done quite a few Michael Four Third related videos, not only just reviews, but actual talk about the system itself. I've done a few lives just talking about Michael Four Third, and it's quite a heavy Michael Four Third base in the last month or so, and because of that, there are quite a few people who those who like to look down on the system itself, and they left some comments in my videos. Don't get me wrong, I get this sort of thing every single day, but I just wanted to use these comments and make some suggestions, and also maybe just to reflect how I feel about them in general. I'm not angry, to be honest. People are totally entitled to their opinion. Like I said so many times in this stream, and I'm not sure how many people actually watch these streams. Those people watch this stream here and actually understand every single word I said in this live stream or in any of my videos before. I never really discounted any formats outside of Michael Four Third world. I said that, look, I have my full frame camera here. I just want to show you guys that I do use full frame cameras, and I do obviously use my Michael Four. That's my main kit now, and I have medium format cameras. I have lots of other gears that I use. I'm a professional photographer, so I use tools to create my work, full stop. And but it's these people, I don't know, whenever I just mention the word Michael Four Third, and it's just kind of like igniting some sort of hatred towards this system. And I don't know why, and why would they be thinking like this? And you saw, I see some of the description and they left some comments basically saying, oh, Michael Four Third is there, just get over it, and this system is not going to be surviving, well, whatever, anything that they want to say, oh, Michael Four Third sucks, that's why I put in the title. And there are so many comments that I've seen, and over the years, but more particular after the sales of imaging department from Olympus to JIP, and I think that kind of pushed them even more just to say things, But I just want to make this clear, we are all photographers here, right? We are all photographers. We just prefer to use Michael Four Third, and there's nothing wrong with that. I never really say anything about you guys using my full frame or APS-C or whatever format you use. And like I said so many times in this stream as well, all I care about is your photographs. And if you get great photographs, I don't really care what gear you shoot with. And I prefer Michael Four Third simply because I think it is actually the best system for my needs, which is portability and agility. I said it so many times about that. And image quality, to be quite honest, unless you're really going for pixel peeping and really like go into technical the aspect of the sensor itself, or whatever you want to call it these days, for most people, they really don't give a monkey, like if you go to exhibitions, like I said so many times, and then when you view a picture, when you view this, you go to a gallery, you just see all this picture hang up on the wall, just like these behind me here. You see these lovely pictures hanging on the wall and things like that. You see these pictures. Do they ever ever mention about what gear, what camera and lens they actually shot with those shots. Never ever. Because why? No one cares. No one really cares. It's your work, it's your vision, it's your creativity that counts, right? And whatever tool you use to capture those shots is secondary. It's totally unrelated to the display, of your work. And so this is the whole point of it. And so like, about this particular live stream, I probably get a lot of bashing about making this live stream here. People may actually do this a lot, and then after this is finished and been broadcasted, but the thing is, I don't really care. I mean, I just want to make a point out of it. And because I think I'm not the one supposed to get over it. I think you guys are supposed to get over it. Come on, stop this bashing and stop this like negative hatred things now about Michael Four Thirds is this and that. It's fine if you want to use full frame, if you want to use APS-C, if you think that your system is the greatest in the world. Perfect. You found your perfect tool for your perfect job, right? And but don't go on into other platforms and just shouting that this and that, be negative about the whole thing. Like I always say, this is a photography and creative community here. And really, we're quite a bunch of friendly guys here, just trying to, guys and girls, sorry about that. And but we talk about photography. We like to talk about photography. Yeah, some of us, sometimes can get a little bit nerdy. This is fine. I mean, I like technologies myself, so I don't mind talking about a little bit of tech stuff. But ultimately, what we enjoy doing is holding the camera, go out and press the shutter button, right? This is all we want to do, and I don't see the point of just going to going to next door neighbor's garden, start screaming at them and say like, you suck. This is basically what happened, right? And you got all these people coming over and start chatting rubbish. But yeah, it is like this, and but I understand, trollers do exist, in this world, especially vicious in the YouTube platforms, and because I know that I've seen them around, not just on my channel but other channels. I mean, you hear so many creatives and they talk about people getting horrible comments and horrible feedbacks about things that they said and things like that. But look, this is freedom. This is a free world, right? We can speak whatever we want and we can use whatever we want. And I so happen to be and Michael Four Thirds users, and I'm a switcher. Don't forget, I keep saying that. And people always presume that I have always been a Michael Four Thirds shooter right from the start, right from the beginning. And they're like, look, how long has been Michael Four Thirds system around? It's what, 10 years, 11 years, and but I've been shooting 16 years. I started from the film days, and like I said, look, I still got my 10 grand Leica here, which is a full frame, and I sold my Canon stuff now, so I don't have the other stuff, but they're all full frame. So I've been there, and but like I said, the reason I switched to Michael Four Thirds is because lighter weight, and lighter weight, more portable, and in image quality, there is compromises there. If I say that, there's no compromise, it'll be lying, right? But to me, I can still exploit whatever Michael Four Thirds can give me, and I can still make beautiful images for my clients. And look at some of this work behind me. This one in particular, the top one there. It's been exhibited, in Japan, in Asia, all around the world, actually in US. So I make shots, for exhibition for my clients that get paid to make a living from it. And I never complain about Michael Four Thirds. And why should you? No one should complain about the gear. And if you don't understand it, fine, but don't go on just saying negative stuff to people. You may be a negative person, but keep it to yourself. I'm quite happy that and to maybe give you some therapy. Let's go out and shoot some stuff and stuff like that. But just don't go on and start putting writing negative comments all around the internet and trying to upset people. Lucky that I have a fairly high EQ. I never really got too upset about people saying leaving these horrible comments on my platform. And but I remember when I first started this channel, and seriously, the first 3 months it was like, if you're someone who hasn't been there or have enough EQ to kind of ignore this sort of stuff. I could see people get suicidal about this sort of thing, because some of the comments were so horrible, and you wouldn't believe it. Nowadays it's okay. My channel is more or less established now, and then people are rarely leaving these sort of like very vicious and very negative comment that almost like a personal attack. But in my first 3 months on YouTube, and I can tell you that honestly, some of those comments were just unbelievable. I deleted them already. You probably won't find them anymore because I just don't want to see them. I did report to YouTube, but like what you heard already, YouTube never really do anything about it. But they were really horrible. And I remember the first 2 videos that I did in this channel. I think 2 of them, they both deleted now on the request of my friend, and that I mentioned before. And we had, I think, 80% negative comments in the section, and they were not constructive criticism or nothing like that. Yeah, they're not, oh, your sound level is bad, oh, your composition is bad, or this and that. No, they're not. They are personal attacks. I'm telling you, like, oh, you, yeah, racist, whatever you can call it, and just like every single comment there is horrible. So, this world is full of this, and then so I'm lucky and I'm happy. Most of you guys are just brilliant. You guys been with me for so long and supportive in this channel. Whatever I do, you guys been always there, and so I'm really grateful for that. Like I said so many times, without you guys here, my channel would have been stopped and basically finished last year. I had so much going on last year, and so many personal stuff, professional stuff. Just kind of it's almost feeling like the whole world has collapsed on me, and last year, but it was because of you guys. I did a couple of streams, and then you guys came back and starting to cheer me up, leaving me a lot of messages, and it really gave me a lot of energy back, to kind of boost me up. So it is good. I mean, I loved it, and so thank you very much for that, and that's why I'm here today, talk about all this stuff. So not necessarily just on the Michael Four Third. I'm pretty sure you guys will receive some comments like this here and there every now and then, because I remember, I think I can't remember the name now, sorry about that, if but I think one of you actually did tell me 2 days ago that you had similar experience, because you went out to shoot something with your local camera club, and you said to me that yeah, my friends in the club, and always trying to kind of saying some negative things to them, just get over it. My system is way better than yours. You need to upgrade. You could use to switch to whatever system, Fuji, Nikon, whatever. And but you're right. You said the same thing as well. You just said, look, I prefer my Michael Four Third. There's nothing wrong with it. I can take picture. Even though this one is actually EM10 Mark II, which is a 16 megapixel camera. Look, I don't print. All I care is that I'm happy taking my camera out, going around my local area, take some shots, and I never really print. All I want is just to display, and on my Instagram and my Facebook, just to share the images. So he understood his needs, and I think that's like the whole point about talking about these things is, you got to understand about yourself, yourself. If you are a tech nerd or a camera nerd that you always chase for the latest technology, yeah, I mean, it's good for you, just go ahead, and it's nothing wrong with it. And like I said, I respect you, but again, as much as I respect you, but don't come back and start bashing whatever I use, and it's up to me whatever I use. I can use Olympus today, I can use Leica tomorrow, it's up to me, right? And then so does it mean that when I use Olympus you're gonna say, you are like this, and when I use Leica I say, yeah, nah, to me it doesn't really make sense at all. But anyway, and let's have a few chat about you guys, and what do you guys think about these negative stuff that's going on around not just in my channel, but in general. If you see, you may have experienced the same thing, and whenever you go out, maybe you go to a wedding, maybe go to events, and people see you using smaller kit, and they kind of almost look at you that that you're not professional, and look at that, man, they are just toys, and but for those who don't know, and if you just joined this chat or you're just new to Michael Four Third, be confident about your photography, and at the end of the day, these are just tools for you, right? And you go into different Michael Four Third forums and different things, see those images, just see for yourself. They are no different to any other things that you've seen on the market, and they may have slightly different aesthetics and things like that, but this is only pure superficial, and maybe just to look about certain rendering of the lenses and things like that. But in terms of technical aspect, if you're a competent photographer, you can shoot with anything. You can make a great shot with this. And another thing, talk about smartphone. That's another comment that I received, is that I think it was this morning. It was actually this morning. I received another comment. They said, "Oh look, the latest smartphone nowadays can have the same quality as Michael Four Third." And then like, oh okay, you certainly don't understand photography. Then how could you possibly say that a smartphone can take the same picture as a Michael Four Third? So like that comment was completely ignored as soon as I saw those few words there. iPhone equal Michael Four Third. So no, this is totally joke, mate. And so I ignored that comment, and I just basically. There you go. You know what I'm going through now, and there's all these comments that I always see. And like I said to you guys, you may not aware that I do read every single one of your comments. I may not have time to reply, but I do read them. And if I do have some time, I'll go back and reply them. But as you can imagine, sometimes I get so many comments that I just can't reply every single one of them. And so if I never reply your comments, please forgive me. And I do want to reply everything, but the time is restricted in my end, and I can't possibly go through every single one of them. But anyway, so I do read them, and good or bad, I do read them. I do really take some comments as well in terms of ways to improve things, and whatever you guys want to see in the channel, I also listen to those as well, because this is what this channel is really all about, you guys. And because I my profession, I go and shoot and make money from it. So this YouTube is always my kind of my outlet in a way, and to communicate to the outside world, to like-minded individuals, to other photographers, other creators out there, just a bit of fun really. And so this is what this YouTube is. So I really want to share things that I kind of like to talk about, and then likewise I would like feedback from you guys, and if you guys want to see more of this and that, and I will try to adjust to it if I have the time. I know that you guys also want me to make some tutorials and editing things like that, which I will be doing some, and because I know quite a few of you guys actually asked me for that. And I'm not sure if you already saw my carry your gear playlist, which is the pilot episode was went live last Sunday, which is the back review, the Jisoo Adventure backpack review, and which is the very same intro that you saw at the beginning of this live stream. And so this is the very first. Like I said, I think last month I started to collaborate with a lot of companies and to do with camera bags and camera cases reviews, because I think it not only just an expansion of this channel, but also give you a different side of things as well. Not just always about gears, and not just always about lenses, not just about always editing, but things that you don't find many on YouTube. And to be frank, if you're trying to Google it, and there isn't a channel that has a lot of accessories, kind of concentrated and or consolidated for all the photographers and creators out there. You may see individual reviewing like a product here and there just because they bought them, and but this is what I'm trying to change now. I'm trying to give you a more different variety of the things, and to look at. You could be support like tripods and ball heads and things like that. These things are still interesting, are still relative to your work, right? I know we have good IBIS, but like every now and then we still bring out our tripods and do like extremely long exposures, time lapses, for instance. Even astrophotography, you need tripod for those stuff. So I already teamed up with a few companies there. I'm not trying to disclose anything, you just have to stay tuned for the future contents I'm going to make. But I have a lot of contents coming up, and already got another bunch of boxes sitting in my living room, and my wife is not too happy about them because there's too many boxes there. And same as filmmaking gears like gimbals and things. I've already got a few gimbals also lying around. So a lot of contents out there. So that this is the whole changes in terms of this channel. Of course I'm still a Michael Fourth guy, I'm still Olympus, I'm still the ambassador, so I'm gonna continue to do what I can with everything that I have here, but it's not just always about cameras and lenses. That's what I'm trying to say. And hopefully that this will give you more information if you want to get some of these stuff. And I do get stuff from them for review, but I don't get paid by these guys. So I still really appreciate people don't leave some comments that, oh, you get this for free and this and that. Look, I have to work for this stuff, right? And at the end of the day, this channel is I spend a lot of time and to make these videos. So this is kind of how I make a living at this moment in time, because I don't have any photography job. So this is what kind of keep me going in a way. So there you go. Anyway, let's see what you think about everything, and let's talk a little bit about negative comments. So let me just turn off the fan. It's getting a bit hot in here. Right. Oh, let's just say some more hello as well. Hello, Pedro. Oh, yes, Guy. Hello. And hi, John. Hi, Ray. Wolfgang, Zella, and Coxcom1. Credit Flats. Okay. From Canada. Maurizio. Okay. Tom, Jason, Pete, Kirk, Mark, I think it's Martin, Phil, Alvaro, Marco, Jose, Claude, Casper. Oh, hello, Casper, and welcome you back, Paolo. Great stuff. Well, first, let's talk about that. Fanboyism of other brands are just toxic. Right. I can quite confidently say that I know some of you guys are not Olympus users and you just simply just a Micro Four Third user, but quite a few of us actually use other brands as well. So I know some of you guys especially that you do 2 or 3 different systems, so you have other platform existed, and you can see my point, right? If you use like let's say 2 or 3 different formats, so you have like full frame or APS-C cameras lying around in your house, you can appreciate my point, right? There's no point about bashing things. You just pick up the right camera whenever or whatever you need them, right? Let's say if you want to go out travel, you want a lightweight system, you pick up the Micro Four Third. If you need a high resolution camera, you can pick up your Nikon D850, whatever. You have a choice. This is choice, right? It's your choice to do your thing, and you could be a fanboy for Nikon, you can be a this and that, but it doesn't really matter. You pick up the right tool for that. And if I ever say that it's like shoes or bags, whatever, there is never ever going to be a perfect solution for everything. No, don't get you would be lying to me if you tell me that you have a camera that can do absolutely everything. No, I don't. If you go to a lot of film companies, even commercial companies, the reason why they have A cam, B cam, C cam, and they all have different specification, why? Because they need different cameras for different scenarios, different capabilities for different things. Some may be better in lower light, some may be better for certain things, and they even have smaller system just to put it in a little tiny corners and very tight spaces they can maneuver. So they have multiple cameras. Same thing as me. I just pick up the right thing. I mean, the correct tool for the correct jobs, and that's it. But what you said there, fanboyism is getting a little bit out of hand these days, and especially sorry guys, if you guys are Nikon and Sony, but you guys are really vicious sometimes, and because some of these Sony people, I know, okay, it's the fact that you guys technologically, you guys are probably number one at the moment. You're probably kind of neck to neck to Canon, and but still, the reason that we have other brands exist because there are other usage, there are other preferences out there. If I tell you one day the entire world is only one brand, Sony, would you be happy? But dictated by just one brand, there's no competition, there's no variety there. You are being dictated by what Sony gives you. And that's just for argument's sake. Would you like that world? If you go to camera store, all you see just Sony. Everything's Sony. You may be happy for a split second. Oh yeah, Sony won the world of competition. We are at the top of the camera world now. Everybody else is done. And you may be happy for a split second, but I guarantee you, in about 3 months' time, you said, right, now I don't have any other choices now, and I'm just gonna stuck. If Sony decided to make their cameras like 15 grand, I still have to pay 15 grand for it because there is no competition. And to me, I think maybe growing up, I'm a bit older than you guys think that, but I remember when I was younger going to camera stores in Hong Kong. You see so many different brands. It was an eye-opening experience just to go in there. You see like Minolta, you see Fuji films, you see Nikon, Canon, Pentax, Ricoh. There's so many different brands. It's cool. I love to see variety. That's the whole fun thing about, you know, comparison sometimes, not to the extent about bashing each other, but in terms of comparison technologies and things like that, this is the fun part, right? You compare things, and which one a little bit better than this and that, in a more constructive way I'm talking about. And so it's fun to have variety with different choices. You know, we want choices at the end of the day. Why, you know, I don't always use Olympus lenses. Sometimes I get a Panasonic lens, sometimes I use these other lenses, I just adapted to it. You know, I have a choice of optics, right? We want choices. So like, don't always think that your brand is basically the only thing that exists in the world, or better than everybody else. Fine, if you believe that, that's okay. You keep it to yourself. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, just please, you know, they are quite toxic. You know, that, so you're sitting quite well there. And Phil, I'm not a pro, but I do put a few videos out, and if I had gone for another system, I would have been able to have 3 camera bodies and all the lenses I need for what I do. Yep, I totally agree with you, mate. Morris, hello from Manchester. Hi there. And guess what weather is like? I told you I lived in Manchester for 2 years, so I know what it's like in Manchester, Morris. Yeah. Having said that, I enjoy the time when I was in Manchester. It's a really cool city. It's a really cool city. Frederick from Finland. Oh, hello there. Did you bring Peter Forsgard with you? He released a pretty cool video yesterday about the POV. I think I quite enjoyed that. Burana, hello there, Burana. Oh yeah, you got a second line here. I mean, I probably couldn't afford to have the stuff that I do on a different system. Long live Michael 4/3. Right. Interesting you mentioned about affordability. This is another thing that I want to highlight to you guys. I think I kind of mentioned it in the last couple of streams anyway. In terms of affordability, you really can't beat Michael 4/3. And seriously, if you're looking as a system, as you know, as a whole, you know, Michael 4/3, regardless whether it's Panasonic or Olympus, I think they are really affordable. And as long, you know, as you look at it as a system, you know, and also depending on what grade of camera you're looking at, like whether it's beginner, mid grade, or professional grade, because obviously they come in different price brackets. But if you're looking like for like, yeah, like I said, if I had to switch back to Canon, like for arguments, if I go back to Canon nowadays, I would have to get, you know, the pro system. I can't use the lower end stuff just because of my needs. Yeah, I need it to be weather sealed, like proper weather seal, rugged, and I need a fast aperture, not for depth of field. I need fast aperture that will allow me to shoot better in lower light and things like that. So if I need to get the equivalent stuff now that I have with my Michael 4/3, I would have to spend, I calculated the other day, I have to spend at least 12 to 13,000 pounds. That's how much I need to get brand new. If I need a new camera, 2 of them, I need to get some lenses, and that's it. I need 13,000 pounds. Whew. You know, I don't know how you know, maybe the world has gone so rich these days that everybody can afford a 3,000, 4,000 pound cameras. You know, seriously, you know, I was a little shocked, you know, when I see all these people, I get the latest camera here, I got this latest lens here, and wow, you guys must be making lots of money. Seriously, you know, I remember when I was starting out and doing things, you know, spending $1,000 would be I would be screaming. It's like, I just paid $1,000 for my 5D. You know, like, it's expensive. These days, you know, $1,000 is nothing. You know, and you're paying 3,000-4,000 pounds for a camera, and most of these are not making money from photography either. You know, they are just amateur, so they must be loaded. And so I'm just curious, you know, and you know, for me, like I said, I run a business, and if my clients never dissatisfied about everything that I produce, and they're still happy, giving me a big nice smile and pay me for my work, and I'm using Michael 4/3, why not? You know, like, Michael 4/3 is cheap, you know, by comparison, and then also has, you know, definitely good enough professional quality. You know, like, there are so many professionals out there using Michael 4/3. you may not understand, you may not know. I mean, I'm talking to full frame people or other format people. You may not know, but then certainly there are a lot of pros there making money from Micro Four Thirds cameras, just that you don't know about them. And so for me, running a business, I think that you can calculate, right? If you know accounting, it's about your profit. It's about, how much you spend and how much you get paid, right? You've got a balance there. If my pay is about same here, never really changes, would you prefer to buy a system that is down here, or you want to pay a system that is down here? If I'm gonna go for full frame, that means I'll be paying right up here, and that means I'll be making probably a loss for the first few months just trying to pay for the system. I'm not even going to make money. And but I told you that when I switched to Micro Four Thirds, when I switched to EM1 Mark II, I didn't have to pay for the system in a way, because whatever I sold, the Canon stuff, is enough to cover 80% of my the Micro Four Thirds costs. Brand new. I have to buy everything brand new from Olympus, and whatever I sold, I was able to pay 80% of it. I only have to fork out 20%, of my own money to get the stuff. God, I've never seen anything like that. I've upgraded cameras, and then, like I said, every 2 years. So every time I upgrade cameras in my Canon days, it's almost like it's hurting my pocket. Every time I have to buy a new camera, it's hurting my pocket. Oh, I have to do 2 more jobs to pay for it. And that's the difference. People don't think like that. And unless you guys are all super rich, you can afford that sort of thing. But for me, running a business is a total different thing. I don't look at things like that. And the more money I can make, the better, right? This is what it is. And so hopefully you can kind of understand that. For most people, I always said, Olympus done a fantastic job, but not just Olympus, but Micro Four Thirds in general. It really allows people to access photography and filmmaking in a total different level, cost-wise, because, you can buy the latest A9, the latest A1 Sony cameras. You can buy the R5, maybe the R1 is coming out later this year. These cameras are costing £4,000 to £5,000 each, body only. You can have all those money. And good for you, but many of us are, doing it as a hobby, just trying to enjoy photography. And like I said, Micro Four Thirds is definitely, compared to those cameras, is quite a bit cheaper. And so many of us can actually use the leftover. If you do have the budget, imagine that if you have that budget, £5,000, £6,000, would you rather spend it all on just a camera body, or you buy a Micro Four Thirds body, let's say EM1 Mark III, the latest flagship from Micro Four Thirds, £1,400. Let's say 1,400. I don't know what the latest price is, but £1,400. So you got what, £3,600 left, and that I would rather spend that money to get 2 more lenses and still have enough money left over to travel around to another place to take better photographs. Would you want to do that, or just to spend it all just on one body alone? I wouldn't do that. I think I would rather travel, not in current climate, but then, if you just go to travel and see the world, and there's so many places that you want to go, so many things you want to try, food, see the places, experience everything. Micro Four Thirds is here, and that is really, really cool. That's what I thought. Think about the whole system. It's about accessibility, affordability, not just about technical advances. Sometimes people overlook these sort of little things here, because they thought, I can get the latest and the greatest. And yes, it is. You may have the technologically, superior camera, but what are you going to do about it? Yeah, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, you have the cool $5,000 camera here that does everything. You think yourself, you can take photo yourself, and but what are you going to do about it? Are you going to go to a different country to shoot? Are you going to do things? Are you going to make photos that you can sell for 10,000? No, probably not. You were just holding that camera there to shout to people that I have the latest, most likely, and then after about a month or so, you probably get tired of it, because photography isn't the priority in the first place. That's what I thought and I think about when people showing me some of these cameras and shouting, I have the greatest stuff here. In the majority of the cases is that they are gear chaser, that's how we call it, gear chasers, and so they always chase the latest and the greatest and talk about them rather than actually enjoying photography and going out see places, actually enjoying the photo making process, which I always say to people, when you go out to experience photography, whether it's going to be what I have here is 10 grand, 10 grand Leica, or a 400-pound EM10, EM5, sorry, EM5. To me, there's no difference here between these two cameras. Aesthetically, perhaps, brand, perhaps, this is Leica, so it's expensive anyway. And but it's no different. I mean, for me, they just take pictures. And like I said, the reason I have this is because I was shooting for Leica for 2 years, and that's why I have a Leica here, and I have some lenses as well. And also the other reason is because I have the Leica film cameras, and I've been shooting there for years when in my film days, and that's why Leica knows me, and we were doing a little bit of things together. But anyway, that's the long story. But you know what I mean. So hopefully that we get some sense out of the whole thing here. Oh, hello, Nat. Hi there. A new male model, supermodel for Olympus UK. Good to hear from your voice. You know what he's talking about? You guys may not actually know what he's talking about. Nat is talking about me. I am the next supermodel for Olympus UK. Let me just show you a picture, because that's what Nat is referring to. Let me just try and get it now. And I actually forgot about it. Let's see, photo of me, there we go. Okay, right guys, I am on the magazine. There we go. Oops, let's go here. I'm on the magazine. Yes, I'm the features for their LS series promotions in the UK. So if you guys want to pick up a copy, you're very welcome. It is professional photo magazine in the UK, and so I'm the back cover. And hey, that's cool. Awesome. That's what Nat was referring to. Anyway, let me leave the little photo here, so we can kind of have some fun of it. You can make geography, doesn't matter. I'm quite a happy person. Phil, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and it's fun. It's quite a fun thing. I think a lot of the time when I talk about this sort of thing is only because, not out of frustration. No, I never get frustrated. I mean, I got enough EQ to kind of ignore this sort of nonsense. But it's the thing that I want to educate. I really do want to educate people, not so blind about things, and one day, you never know, one day these people might pick up a Micro Four Thirds cameras because they got so tired of full frame or whatever. I don't know, I'm just guessing, if Micro Four Thirds is still around in 1,000 years, and so we shall see. But the thing is, small things always good for something, and regardless, people may not be appreciative at this moment in time, because over the last 2 years, everything is craving about full frame. They are raving about full frame, and the kind of whole trend is going full frame. But don't forget the word that I just used, trend. Trend changes. I've been long enough to see things changes in the market. We've gone from big to small to big to small. It goes up and down like this, and I guarantee that very soon you're gonna see a revert back again. People are looking for smaller gear, because I'm actually telling you from experience, they might get tired of heavier thing, bigger thing. Look, I know that full frame are getting smaller. Lenses are getting a little bit smaller now. They have some compact solutions, especially Canon's latest 70-200 f4 is really quite a technological feast. This is quite small, but still, it's heavy. It's still big. For the same size, almost the same size, you can have our 40-150 2.8. The range is bigger. You got 2-stop brighter aperture. Depth of field is another thing I'll talk about in another video. But you got a bigger range lens, smaller and lighter. Still, so you can't really compare, and apples and oranges. Micro Four Thirds is always going to be here for, and if people want a smaller kit, and I still see the demand. And one of the reasons why in Asia the Micro Four Thirds is selling so well is because they are so portable. People enjoy portable things, and is so cool. Remember the days? I'm not sure what about you guys. Remember the days before smartphone came about. You remember this mobile phones, these cell phones, yeah, in the States. Remember the first couple of generations of digital. I'm talking about digital, not analog mobile phones. Digital mobile phone, right? Motorola, Ericsson's. They were fairly big phones, right? Remember those? Yeah, probably about the size of this, but thicker. Probably about 3 times thicker. And those brick, you hold it, and they've gone smaller. Yeah, they've gone small. And to the point that it was so small, it would be like this small. And then it went big again because they were too small. People can't get used to it. People can't press the number because it's so tiny, the buttons. And it gone big again. And then smartphone. So, the smartphone gone big. Yeah, people love big phones. And they say, oh, yeah, got big screen. And then the trend changes again back to smaller phone. And that's why Apple's making the SE and the smaller phone, because there was a huge demand for smaller phones. Because people, after they experience the bigger phones, they think that, ooh, I can't slip into my pocket. I can't slip into my jacket because it's big and it's heavier. And then they go back to smaller. I don't need that screen. I got my tablets anyway. There you go. Trends do changes. Once they experience the bigger things, they might think over time. They might think that it does the same thing. I never really buy expensive lenses anyway. My needs is only to take a few snaps when I'm traveling. And in that case, after the camera becomes so old, they went the next purchase could go back to Micro Four Thirds or other APS-C, other crop factors, crop sensor cameras. So there you go. Trends do changes because at this moment in time, it is the trend on full frame. People just talk about it, full stop. But it doesn't mean everything. Like I said, full frame doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean everything. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry about that. And just be aware of this. What I just said, and because a lot of people are just overthinking and maybe just presumes so many things that may not actually be relevant in the future. So that is what I wanted to say here. So let's go on to the next comment here. And Joshua, thanks for what are you doing for us, Jimmy and the Micro Four Thirds for Tower. Thank you there. Martin, hello guys. Hello there, how are you? Great stuff. GG, always I'm late. I'm still catching up comments. You know how it works now. I'm always quite late in catching up comments. So so be patient. You can keep typing, no problem. I'll try to get to your comments very, very soon. Olympus and Fuji X are similar in terms of quality. Fuji's are very good. I do admit that they are very good in most cases. But before I switched to Olympus EM1 Mark II, I did try the X Pro series, and because I was curious, there was a period of, I would say, 3 to 4 months. I did some intensive testing, and just to see, apart from Canon, what else can I do? And I wanted I do genuinely wanted a smaller system. So I wasn't really looking for another DSLR at the time. I was looking for mirrorless. I know Sony was already there, but I really, not being disrespectful, but I didn't really like the menus. I didn't really like the colors. The colors was horrible. I know they have improved dramatically over the last year or so, but the early days Sony's and the tone, the color, skin tones were horrible. So at the time when I was trying them, I just couldn't bear it. And then I tried Fuji. I did try Fuji, and that's why I was talking about Fuji. I had experience about Fuji because I have a friend who was a Fuji X shooter. So he has XT2, XT3 at a time, and then the X Pro as well. So I tried both of them. I tried the bigger lenses, smaller lenses. I tried a whole bunch of stuff. And at the end, I still prefer the EM1 Mark II because it's still the tiniest between them. And don't forget that the EM1 Mark II at the time, it was built for professionals. It had really one of the best weather seals, and the lenses in general. I just prefer the characteristic from Olympus. This is really can be a personal preference issues here, and don't think that I'm saying Fuji is rubbish. I never said that. I'm just saying I prefer the Olympus rendering. And similarly, when I review Panasonic and Olympus lenses, I just prefer the look of Olympus lenses. It's not about bias. It's not about bias. And not because I'm an ambassador. It's just because I prefer the look of it, and more than that. I mean, I did say that when I review the 42.5 Nocticron and then the 45 f1.2 Olympus Pro lens side by side, I did say that the Panasonic lens is sharp. It really is sharp. It just makes your images pop, you know. So I actually make the comment saying that, you know, for those who are into like the very clinical, very 1 and 0 sharpness, you know, if you want things just sharp, you know, like bitingly sharp, then the Panasonic Nocticron is really good, really good. But I prefer the more gentle approach from the Olympus, you know, so I never really say who won at the end, you know, I just say that you got different choices here. You know, they're both equally brilliant lenses. It just depending on your preference, depending on your on how you want your images to look like. And so yeah, for me, I prefer the Olympus. That's why I got the Olympus 1.2 lens, and rather than the Nocticron lens. So yeah, we are all entitled to different opinions. But like I said, it's all about a choice, you know. And is the more choices, the better, because we can choose, right? Nat, in general, and my opinion is that it's those who don't rely on photography as the main source of income, hobbyist, amateur, semi-pro, however you want to call them, who are so critical. Yeah, and also, I have to say that in my position, I have met quite a lot of publisher and editors in the UK. So I often speak to them, you know, whenever there's a public event, you know, from Olympus, because I turn up and, you know, they are there. So we usually have a chat about things. And you see, like, these people, they've seen a lot of different system and lenses, you know, from cheapest to the most expensive stuff. You know, they're the editor for photo magazines. Of course, they've seen everything. And they will have tested more stuff than I do, but because this is their jobs to test gear from different manufacturers. They always say that, you know, in a similar tones, you know, like, oh yeah, because I'm an editor, you know, I'm a technical editor, so I will analyze things from a numbers point of view. Yeah, that's what he said. I analyze things from a technical numbers point of view, and then of course, you know, Sony, whatever, Canon, they have the best numbers at the moment because this is what it is. If you really just looking from a scientific point of view, from a technical point of view, yes, they are, you know, having better numbers. But they always said to me, I love Michael Four Third because, you know, it is something that you cannot quantify, you know. And I'm not just talking about one editor, I'm talking about several editors. If you look at a lot of magazines, you know, they all talk about Michael Four Third quite a bit. And in fact, you know, I know there are 2 or 3 editors in the UK. They're fairly big in the UK, and their personal system is actually the EM5. And that says a lot, you know, for a lot of these editors out there. They use cameras that are like, you know, medium formats and all the other cameras that may be worth about 15, 16 grand, you know, I'm talking about the commercial medium format, not the Fuji stuff. They have a EM5 at home, and whenever they go out, they take the EM5, and that's all they do. So that really says a lot, you know. And even though this guy, like I said about, you know, the numbers, they look at numbers a lot, they look at the charts a lot, they look at the actual in the MTF charts, you know, for sharpness and things like that, they look at everything. They still have a Michael Four Third. And you know, I don't have to say too much. I don't really need to prove to people about this. So this very live stream here is more about, you know, explaining things a little, and also that I'm hoping, you know, some photographer from other platform will have watched this and have a little bit of appreciations about why Michael Four Third exists and why, you know, Michael Four Third has a place in the photographic world, because it is offering a choice for people who want mobilities and portabilities, while not sacrificing image quality. Yes, full frame is, in terms of technical point of view, you got better image quality there for lower light especially, but it doesn't mean that Michael Four Third is rubbish by any means. You know, if you look at so many photographs out there now, we are comparable for many things, and especially in the genre of landscape and also portrait photography, I don't see that great deal of differences there. I mean, I'm a portrait photographer, and I do a lot of documentary stuff. I film. I don't see a big deal, compared to other system, as long as you know how to operate your gear, and that's the most important thing. If you don't know photography, you don't know how to operate and exploit those exposure triangles whenever you create a shot, then really it's no difference between whether you're gonna have a $50 point and shoot from Walmart, or you're having a 20 grand camera from Hasselblad. It makes no difference whatsoever. If you don't know how to take a shot, it doesn't really matter what gear you use. Casper, I just like a system I can take along with my other equipment when I'm out and about. You see, like this is another reason on Micro Four Third. It's just that something that is so tiny, you really just basically pick it up from the desk and just go and walk out, and you don't have to faff around, thinking that it's gonna be heavy if I won't take everything, So like I just have to choose. You have to think, before you go out. And in Micro Four Third, because our system is quite tiny, you can easily just have a little bag, have 2 or 3 lenses in it if you want to, and you can just pop out and just start shooting, and that's the beauty of having a portable system. And so the bigger it is, the harder for you to get out, and I can guarantee that, because you always think that it's an effort to make, to actually just simply to go out and shoot is an effort. So like for me these days, I always have a camera. I've got too many cameras, and I have cameras and always kind of in each corner of my house. And so like I just whenever I need to shoot something, I just pick it up, just shoot. And because they're not big, I just always tell my wife that they're ornaments, they're just decorations in the house, and I just have cameras in every corner, and they're all charged and have memory cards in them. So every time I want something, I just pick it up and shoot, and it's quite funny. But yeah, it is what it is. It's just because it's tiny. I mean, if I have a full frame camera, I probably can't do that, because my wife would say that just pack it away, just like it takes up too much space. Morris is saying that 90% skills and 10% tool. You are also very right. I can't quantify the numbers, but you're pretty much bang on there. And Paolo, it's an American thing. The bigger is better. People judge professional equipment by size. I don't think it's an American thing, and it's just general people thinking anyway. I tell you, a couple of experiences that not only just I had, but also my colleagues had as well. Tracy, if you remember Tracy, and she used to work for a Hong Kong studio in Hong Kong, and she basically attend celebrities' weddings and things and shoot there. So her boss used to tell her that, look, we are getting big cameras because we need to look professional. Even though she said, look, I'm a girl, I can't hold this big giant gear, if I have to stand 8 hours, it's going to tire me out. It's like, no, this is our image, our presence. We need to use big camera. So instead of giving her like a tiny camera, they give her like at the time it was 1D, 1DX, whatever. It's big, massive. What? But it's the same thing. You can use a 5D at least, just half the size. And nope, they want it big. The bigger the better. You got to use big lenses, big cameras. I don't give you 2.8. I have to use 1.2. Not for the low light situations things. You just need to look big, because the bigger, the more professional you are, and you also always have that presence. But this is what we are facing, and but lucky I'm my own boss, so I can make that decision myself. I can use whatever system I want. But imagine you work for a studio like that, and all they care about is the image. They might have a reason for it, and but look, ultimately, what are these people hiring you for in the first place? It's your service. If your bloody picture, they're not hiring your camera. Why would you be so adamant to use bigger gear? it's just really beyond me. But anyway, so it's not an American thing. Apparently, it's everywhere, and even in the UK, I got laughed at quite a few times. And when I was even using my Leica, see, the Leica is obviously compared to at the time, DSLR is small, right? The Leica is small, so like I got laughed at using smaller gears, and some of the uncles and auntie, they thought that I wasn't professional enough, and but lucky, of course, the bride, who's the decision maker, all brides are, they defended me really well. They defended me really well, and most of the brides used to say to their uncles and mums that, look, this guy is a pro. Have you even checked out his work? Go to his website, just look at his images, and then he's cool. And he used these cameras to do it. I don't really care about what camera you use as long as I get those pictures. Yeah, that's exactly the point, right? As long as she gets those pictures, not the camera. She's not buying my camera. She's not buying my set. She's not hiring my camera. They're hiring my eyes, my creativity, my skill sets, right? This is the most important thing. So these brides, thank you. You have defended me so well, and then and I actually gave them a kiss. I did. I really did give them a kiss, because they told me that. They actually told me, oh, my uncle just complained, saying that you use a small gear, use like tiny cameras, and but I told them, I told them that your work is really good. You should be looking at his website. Just check them out. These and I really hire this guy here for his skills. There you go. He says everything, and so really, thank you for those words, and even a bride who's not technical can see that. And why can't these people who've been like running around the internet leaving negative comments see that sort of thing? They can't. I don't know why. This is really beyond me, to be quite honest. A bride have no technical knowledge, not a photographer, but she sees things that nobody else who've been playing with cameras for decades. And yeah, it really is something else, I'm telling you. And but I'm glad that they did, and because, like I said, it clears a lot of stuff, and it sets a tone about the whole wedding. And after those words, some of these uncles just at least show some respect to me and starting to ask me a little question here and there, and how do you approach this lighting condition and that sort of thing. And so we are good. Like I said, they all entitled to their own opinions, but I would not take any bullshit. That's all I'm telling you. Okay. Tim, these arguments reminded me of two bald men fighting over a comb. I have a friend in the USA who takes great photos for Instagram on his iPhone, and camera is a tool. It is true. You know what? A lot of these big Instagrammer, all they ever do is just use an iPhone. I never discounted iPhone. iPhones are cool, but not equal to Michael Four Thirds, just to clarify that. But iPhones are cool. They're always there. They're always next to you, so you always can snap stuff. And like Instagram people are doing really great job with the tools that they have, which is the smartphone, because and that's what they do. They wanted instant connectivity. They got it right from the smartphone. They wanted wide angle. They got it on the iPhone. They wanted filters instantly. They got it on the iPhone. So this is the tool that they prefer to use, which is fair. Like totally fair. I use my iPhone sometimes to take my kids and stuff like that. I don't always need to use bigger cameras, and but for people who like to massage the files, just to get the look and the feel to his or her liking in post-productions, then you got to use a bigger camera. You're going to have to use RAW, right? You're going to want to change stuff. So this is why you need a proper camera, and if you want to do that sort of thing, not from an iPhone. They are different. They are different tools altogether. So yeah, you are quite right. A camera is a tool. Instagrammer, they love the iPhones because they're able to utilize it and maximize the effect from the iPhone. And this says a lot about people understanding about their tools. And you nailed it. Thank you. So say if you know what you're doing, you can shoot with any gear and get any results. Yeah, it really is about any gears, any results, because I've been a judge for several different competitions, and when I look at these images, and they do have to list out what did they shoot with. Although we never display them, and but then we just, I don't know, maybe for statistical reasons, I'm only a judge, so I wasn't really paying too much attention. Why would they have to? Well, why do they require people to put cameras and lenses, whatever they use there? I'd never be on me. But anyway, they might have a database there just to see which cameras they use the most, kind of thing. But anyway, so I do see people entering competitions using all kinds of gears, like literally all kinds of stuff, from smartphone. Yeah, these are big competitions. The smartphones, they have medium formats, a lot of medium formats when it comes to competitions there, but rarely like any of them will actually be the winning photos. I mean, there are a few of them are fine art stuff like that, and because the tonality is definitely more superior in the medium format cameras. But it is also depending on what sort of images they want to create. For a lot of location and setup portrait shots, I could see the benefit of having the medium formats, just because the tonality is definitely more smoother, and compared to even full frame, and the medium format does have that advantage. So in terms of ultimate quality, if you break, some of these are big prints, right, and then you can see the difference there. But however, for majority of the people out there, you don't need those gears, not at all. Save your money, be happy. Treat your wife, treat your partner, treat your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, a nice trip abroad, whenever the lockdown's finished, of course, and have a nice trip together. Be happy for a week or two. You've got enough money to do that sort of thing, if you are considering buying a medium format camera, that is. And save yourself, get a cheaper camera. You don't have to get a Micro Four Thirds, but get a cheaper camera. You don't need expensive cameras. I'm not trying to discourage you. Like I said, if you can afford it, go ahead and spend your money, splash out, as long as it makes you happy. But for majority of the people out there, I would suggest, just go and enjoy yourself, see the world, go to a new place that you haven't been, and there you'll get your creative juice back, because you haven't seen that place. You will be taking loads of photos, and isn't that what you want, to grab your camera and take loads of photos? So go to places, go to see people, be inspired about these places, and take some great photographs, and come back and enjoy for a long time, rather than spending every single penny on the most expensive camera you can get and just stare at it for 3 months. I wouldn't want to do that. I would rather go out and just enjoy myself and just experience, the different food. And I like food. Actually, it's kind of making me hungry. And enjoy different people, different culture. I would rather do that for 3 months, right? And any days. That is why there are less fanboys in the USA. That could be the reason, and maybe I think that not so much about bigger and better. Maybe they are just a little bit too small for Americans. I know, Americans probably got bigger hands, and in generally they're bigger, but bigger anyway. That's from my perspective, and it's not a negative comment, but it's just kind of my observations. And because I know that every time I go to US, and I will find that I'm quite tiny, and so that could be the reasons. That could be the reasons that Micro Four Thirds might just be a bit small for them. But that's why we in Olympus get the EM1 and also the EM1X, which are bigger cameras by default. So hopefully these will kind of capture the American audience. But nonetheless, people who buy cameras these days, majority of them are amateurs, and also most of them are beginners. That means they're usually going for the entry level cameras. So that could mean that the EM10 or EM5 will be just a tad too small for them. I don't know. This is just my thinking, and I could be totally wrong. Stephen, and I had a Huawei phone and the Leica lens. It looks very nice image, but not as good as my Olympus. Interesting. I know that we see Zeiss lenses on smartphone. We see Leica on smartphones. But how much of it, is what I'm trying to say is, would that actually make a significant difference between having a Leica lens on a smartphone or any other like really branded and high quality lenses on a smartphone? I'm not entirely sure, because the sensor is quite small by default, and you are not really seeing the rendering of the lens, because the depth of field is so deep, you're not really seeing the rendering, because most of the time you take a snapshot from a smartphone, everything is sharp, and because of the processing, and the AI behind it, everything just kind of, just trying to make it look nice and sharp. So I'm not entirely sure, but I do notice that they may increase the sharpness and resolutions of the capturing images, so it allows the processing engine to maximize the results. That I could understand, but in reality, in practical reasons, I'm not really sponsored by Apple, but like Apple's got no brand phone, no brand lenses. They just say that it's a good lens. But I mean, I see in terms of sharpness wise, if you look at across the board, they are quite equal, and I know Huawei, actually I do like Huawei's colors, actually I do like them, and but if you're really just studying the details, and you can't actually fault them too much, to be honest, and I can't really differentiate between brands. My brother has a Samsung, so I compare that as well. If you just looking from the screen, it's quite hard to tell, but when you blow it up, then you can kind of see the details between them and how much artifacts in terms of compressions and things like that. Because don't forget, these are tiny sensors. By default, they applied a lot of noise reductions in the camera, and so whatever you display on the screen here is already been processed. It's not a raw thing. And I know the latest iPhone you can shoot raw now. I haven't tried it yet, but I know that there is a lot of noise even at ISO 100, because I don't know if you guys notice, on the smartphone you can shoot as low as ISO 16, 8, something like that, something ridiculous, and that means that ISO 100 is quite high for a smartphone, and that's why there's a lot of noise and artifacts there. And so the reason why they have that is because most of the time is fixed aperture. You can't change aperture, so you're shooting wide open all the time, and that's why the only thing that can reduce lights to it is the actual sensitivity of the sensor, so they can reduce it to reduce the amount of light going into the sensor. And of course you could use ND, but if that's an additional layer of things that you have to put in front of the camera. But anyway, we kind of sidetracked it a little bit. So let's go move on to the next one. See, I can talk geeky stuff. Okay, let's see. Unbroken. Yeah, well, the people that judge professionals by the size of the sensors should probably get involved in politics. Where I come from, and you get judged by your work, or your content. I like the way you call it. Be a politician. Yeah, perhaps. And Terry, hi there. I'm in the camera club, and when we view competition entries, the kit is never considered by judges, and it's not displayed with the images. Yeah, likewise, like what I said before. A smartphone in the hand is of a good creative photographer will produce better results than a pro FF DSLR mirrors camera in the hand of a novice. Period. That's a good example. Yes, it is true. Like I said, if you can't really take a photograph, and I mean, if you don't understand how to take a photograph, I know people think that when I say take a photograph, you just press the button. It's way more than just pressing a button. Come on, all of you guys know that taking photograph is more than just that little finger pressing things, right? Is way more than that. Planning, executions, observing lights, compositions, and all this sort of stuff there. To create a great photograph is not easy. So if people cannot take a photograph, it doesn't really matter what gear they use. And but for people who do know what they're doing, oh yeah, they can take anything. They can take great photographs. Doesn't matter whether it's going to be a smartphone or 10 grand cameras or $50 camera. It doesn't really matter. They can take anything. Oh, hello, Andrea Becker. Hello there. How are you? Click Flash. Yes, Jimmy. Reviews on bags and gear for Micro Four Thirds. Every reviews I see for bags and ball heads are for full frame. Gear suggestion for Micro Four Thirds is a good idea for me. Hey, I got my first supporter for my bag stuff. I do have a lot of stuff coming in, and I can guarantee that I have a lot of bags coming in and a lot of tripods, heads as well. So brilliant stuff. If you guys are interested in it, like I said, the new series of carrying your gear will have all the bags and different bags, and not just my lovely Billinghams that I always love. I also have hard cases. I have roller cases. I have the Adventure, which you just saw in my video. My latest video is the Adventure outdoor dual purpose backpack, which is really cool. And so I'm gonna have a lot of this stuff coming in, so you will see a concentrated place to for your carrying solution. So so if you're looking for anything for your Micro Four Thirds gear, for your cameras, yeah, you are in the right place, because I have loads of them coming up. And so yeah, and a lot of these are international brands. That means you can get them in your country. So brilliant, you know, that's what I want to make this collaboration with them, and so I can not just helping them, but I just want to show a variety of things, not just always one thing. You know, I know that you guys might be sick and tired of my Billinghams now, because I have so many of them, and I love them, don't get me wrong, I love them, but I'm trying to give you a more variety, just a Billingham now. And so you know, it's not for everybody, Billingham, and so there are other bags and other choices out there as well, and I'll try to bring you as much variety as possible, you know, and because everyone got different criteria, different preferences, so hopefully this will give you that choices. We love choices. Yes, let's go. Okay, and let's see the next one here. And hello Eugene, and hello L Durino, and and he said fanboyism is toxic, doesn't matter which brand. Yeah, can't say much about that. Unbroken 1010. Hot 90% skill, 10% tool is the right tool for the job. Show me a camera that can replace an 8x10. I use different tool for different results. Yeah, yes. And Michael, and hello from sunny Caribbean. Ooh. Oh, I can so imagine that sunshine now. Don't tempt me. You know, I can kind of imagine having a barbecue right by the beach right now, and then oh, I can't wait for that day to come, because you know, I'm still not very sure, you know, and in the UK this year, you know, we're gonna have a proper summer. I know that we're gonna open up. Lockdown is going to be finished by July, and so we potentially have a normal summer. However, I'm not entirely sure, you know, how practical it is or how comfortable everyone is by just going out like normal again. I know some people would definitely, but I have a young family here, and I have to be responsible and be more careful about things in general. So I may not actually be taking that chance to the beach just yet, but you know, I could so imagine that Caribbean. Oh gosh, oh, it's that blue sky, that clear water, perfect place to take some pictures. I was wondering, have you seen the Arsenal 2 gadget? And no, I actually haven't. Arsenal 2 gadget, what it is. If you have, what are your thoughts about it? Enlighten me about what that is, because I have no idea what that is. It might be interesting to check out. Right, and Stephen, there used to be an argument about Nikon versus Canon cam, but in class normally asked what one I use, and I said neither. You are the different one. You are the chosen one. All right, okay. Mark from Cotswold. Cotswold is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that place. And enthusiastic amateur convert. Nikon Z6 to EM1 Mark III. Size doesn't matter. When you are nearly 70, Olympus is much easier to carry. Like I said, different requirements, different preferences, and Z6 is great. It's a great camera, right? You know, but yeah, when it comes to mobility, really is something. And also the IBIS, right? You know, Z6, I know Z6 has IBIS, but you can't really compare to EM1's IBIS. Is really way more effective on the Micro Four Thirds compared to other sensors. And when people said, you know, you don't have to quote me for it, because there are reviews. My friend Matthias, and who done a IBIS test between EM1 Mark III and the XT4, I think, and which is the APS-C. And he shot things side by side for stabilization, and you won't believe me. And people said that, oh yeah, my XT4 can do better than your Micro Four Thirds. It's not for me. Watch that video. is from a website called, not a website, it's on YouTube. So YouTube is called Mirrorless Lesson. Some of you may have already seen some of his videos, and he done that comparison side by side, and he just said that EM1 Mark III stabilization is really something, and then it just no comparison, even though that XT4 technically has the similar numbers in terms of IBIS stops and compared to EM1 Mark III, but in reality, when you really use it, you do see the difference between them. So Olympus IBIS is really something else, and like I said, I think I've been spoiled by Olympus now. If I ever go into other systems or use other systems, I don't think I could get past the IBIS bit, because it's just so different, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Especially for me now these days, I've filmed a lot, so the IBIS really helps me in terms of filming, because if I just want to handheld, just do some stable shots in there, it is really awesome for what it does. Mark, if a camera world was controlled by one company, I would just it would go like telecom ISP here in the States. No competition, no care for customer, just take what we give you. Pretty much, that's exactly what I was worried. I would never ever want to see just one brand, or not one, maybe even two brands. I don't want to see just one. I want more choices. I want to have different choices, different designs. I want different things to make for different type of people, not just one company, one brand, and things like that. So it's really horrible. And Peter's in the house. Peter is in the house, and. Yes, POV, yes. Yeah, go and check out Peter's POV video. It's actually pretty fun. And now it makes me want to get an Insta360 now. And like I said, I will actually consider buying one. But because I already have the Osmo Action, so I didn't think that I would need it. But yeah, it's quite cool. But I can't make any POV videos yet, and I know many of you have been asking. But the POV videos, like I said, London's still in lockdown. I just no way I can do anything interesting. Man, I can go out around my area, my neighborhood, but what's the point of doing POV in my neighborhood? There's really nothing to see apart from greens and ducks. So unless you don't mind seeing ducks and grass and some blossoms, maybe some flowers and some squirrels. Yeah, anyway, yeah, pretty boring. Hello Corner, and almost missed the live stream. Don't worry, you're here. That all counts. So Catherine, hello Catherine. I find that Olympus allows me to take photos in unlikely places due to its size. People and animals aren't intimidated. That is a very good point. Not just about people though, right? It's animals as well. And also the IBIS really help, right? When it comes to shooting animals, not about freezing the moments, yeah. But when let's say you're shooting something like the squirrels, for instance, very low down on the ground, and you just put your hand down, one-handed, flip the screen, just to have a very low angle shot there. Pretty much like this. If I put it down here, it just kind of open my screen up, and just like this, I can just kind of see it from this angle, and you kind of, and the thing is, yeah, because the IBIS is so good, you can just hanging, have your camera dangling at the very low, almost touching the ground, and still able to take some shots. This is really, really cool. And because, like I said, so small, these squirrels that I've been photographing, and then they're not too intimidated. Yes, that's the word, right? That's by the small thing that I have on my hand. They actually thought it was food. So they actually came closer, and in quite a few cases. So yeah, it is actually quite interesting you point out. I think is a very valid point as well, because I have personal experience about these sort of thing, and especially since lockdown, I've been photographing a lot of squirrels around my areas, and I do find the techniques quite fun to use, or quite effective to use. Lauren, I bought a Canon RP with the 24-105 for less than for about $999. Got 3% towards the next buy, but yes, indeed, that is the lower. That's low end, and so forth. Top end is expensive. Happy to Canon so far. That's it. That's no problem about getting the RP. The thing that is a good price as well. $999. You can't go wrong with that sort of prices. So that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Like I said, I don't discount other brands. I used to be a Canon guy, and I've been using other brands before. At the end of the day, we want to enjoy photography. That's what I'm saying, and so it's always good to have a variety of people joining this live chat as well. Just to have different community, different people there who share one vision, not one vision, photography, not one vision, one category, photography and filmmaking. Yeah. Okay, and Peter is making dinner while listening to me. Thank you, Peter. You're my biggest fan. I know. I'm your biggest fan too. Okay, and let's go on to the next one here. Jason Lee. I've never experienced the negativity of for using Micro Four Third. If anything, possibly converted some after seeing the size of my kit and playing around with it. Yeah, I mean, I have converted tons of people, seriously, and since this channel began, and which is, good. I mean, obviously, I wasn't really selling anything. I was just purely demonstrating what it's capable of. And like I said, actually, quite funny you mentioned about this, about trying and playing around with your camera. And that is a very, very interesting point. And I think that Olympus should take a few notes about this. Well, at least now it's the OM Digital Solutions. But before, I did say that Olympus cameras are great. But the thing is, no one really knows about them. And because you really don't appreciate, you don't really kind of think how good it is until you physically hold the camera and start shooting with it. And that is a fact, because frankly, this is my experience, right? I came from a Canon world. I was looking for mirrorless cameras, like I said earlier. I've been trying months of different solutions, and I didn't know anything about Olympus. I mean, I had the EM5, but that's totally different. I'm talking about from a pro point of view. And then I didn't actually know how good it is until I actually tried the EM1 Mark II on my hand, shooting for 2 days. And that tells something. Something needs to be done from Olympus, from the company, and whether it's be, OM Digital Solutions or local marketing team, I don't know. But someone needs to do something to try to convey some of this goodness within Olympus cameras. At this moment in time, I don't think this has been translated too well to the real world, and then and there are people missing out, and they don't understand nor they appreciate the greatness of Olympus camera. Like I said, Olympus is not the greatest cameras, nothing is in the world. But I'm just saying, from an Olympus point of view, the camera itself is great. It's and many people should enjoy it. But at the moment in time, these people just don't know about them. I mean, you can't just say that, oh yeah, this has got a 6.5 stop, 7 stop IBIS. Oh, it's got this, pro capture. You got this and that. But people don't really kind of click to those terms that you just use. What's a live com? What's a pro capture? What is this 7 stop IBIS? It's hard to understand, right? It's hard to kind of appreciate until you physically holding the camera, starting to take some shot with it, and starting to use it as a, holy cow, I can take a shot with 3 seconds still sharp, or 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Yeah, this is what a 7 stop IBIS can do to you. And then, but it's really hard, and the moment I don't think that there is a good way of doing it just yet, unless you are physically demonstrating it or let them try your cameras. And COVID doesn't really help at all, because all the live event that Olympus used to run is completely cancelled. So it is hard sell, because as great as Olympus camera is, and the technological inventions and all the IBIS and pro capture and live com, all this computational photography, they need to do better jobs in communications. I don't know, I'm not a marketing person, but something can be done, I'm pretty sure, to demonstrate this, and make people understand from a very low level. If people don't have any idea about photography, any ideas about this tech stuff, you have to make these people understand, and they can go and try your camera. Because at this moment in time, I don't think they actually quite understand any of this. So I'm hoping the new company will have different directions, and in terms of promoting the cameras and the features, that's really just coming from a photographer's point of view, especially I was a switcher myself, and like I said, I didn't know anything until I really had my hands on with the EM1 Mark II. Then I realized how good it is, and but that says a lot of stuff, because at the time I wasn't really searching for Olympus for my professional use. I had the EM5 for my personal use, which I loved, and but I wasn't really looking at Olympus at all. I was looking at Fuji, like I said earlier. I was looking at other systems. I'd never really considering using Olympus until I tried them. But then once I tried, it just gone. The rest is history now. It just I got hooked onto it. I mean, I think the system is great for my use, and yeah, it's just insane. Bruce, since lockdown, you got a nice picture there. Since lockdown, I put a cover song out each Saturday. I use 3 MFT cameras to get a live performance. Low light in the house can be tricky, but I use the Camland 50 Mark II, the 1.1, and the 25 1.7. Good lighting. Yeah, I mean, look for the light. Look for the light exposure to the left. It always does the trick quite well. I think it's pretty cool. Randy, hello Randy. I love Micro Four Thirds. I'm using EM10 Mark III, and it gives me what I want. And using just kit lens, and it works for me. Yes. Nothing wrong with kit lens. Like I said, nothing wrong with kit lenses. They're actually as good as any lenses out there. Yes, technologically there could be a difference there, but for most people, kit lenses are actually more than enough, especially those people who are just purely looking for, let's say, going some travel snaps, family events, and things like that. You don't really need those pro lenses, and unless you want to explore the creativity side of it, or doing professional assignments, kit lenses are okay. Then people always think that you need a better lens to do better things. In a way, yes, but for most people, I think they're good. They're good. I had my kit lenses for my EM5 Mark 1, the original one. I had the kit that particular kit lens, the 12 to 50 EZ lens, the electronic zoom lens. I had that for about 8 months before I bought my first premium lens from Olympus, and I thought that lens was cool. But as a pro, it's different. I'm so used to other optics, and so when I got the premium lens, I said, I can't go back. I can't go back to the kit lens. So I sold the lens, and I got myself other pro lenses for the EM5 at the time. Yeah. Thank you, Richard, for the super chat. Thank you very much. And pair characters exaggerated, stretching his arm towards the front of a cup of coffee. Thank you very much for the coffee. Bill, camera prices are the same as cell phone prices. They just a racket. $50 worth of parts and sell it for $5K. I like the way you say it. Well, yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, but at the same time, you kind of have to make sure they make money. Not the likes of Apple. They probably just got too much money anyway. Although that, having said that, I'm still throwing money at them, and I'm such an Apple guy. I have all the Apple kind of ecosystem in my house, and but it's more, for me, it's more continuity, because I've been using them for so long now, and for me, just easier because I have everything kind of made for Apple in all the accessories and things like that, so it's just easier. But anyway, but yeah, I'm hoping camera prices would be lower, to be quite honest. And but having said that, like I said earlier, Micro Four Thirds is comparatively a lot cheaper than other formats. That's okay, to me at least. But cheaper would be better, at least from a consumer and a business point of view. I don't mind anything cheaper anyway. So if they can make it cheaper, the better. But having said that, the EM1 Mark III is cheaper than EM5 Mark II. Do you know that? I don't know how many of you actually pay attention to it. EM1 Mark II, when it first launched, it has an RRP of 1,800 in the UK. It was expensive. It was 1,899. I can't remember now. It's quite expensive. It's very, very expensive. Then, and when the EM1 Mark III came out, the RRP was 1,500. So it's actually cheaper than EM1 Mark II, which is quite surprising, and I thought it would be kind of around about the same ballpark figure when it first came out, but no, it's actually brought back down the price quite a bit. and but it's good, you know, it's good from Olympus to do that, because I personally think the 1800 may be stretching a little bit, and for EM1, but you know they got to make money. So, but they shoot the bucket loads of EM1 as well. So that I think that's for them is probably like a money making machine. And but nonetheless, you know, like I said, they do need to make money to survive. So I guess, you know, if we're willing to pay for it, that's still okay. But having said that, the best selling models in the year from Olympus is the EM10. That's the money cow for them, and the EM10 series has always been the most popular camera they ever done. Unbroken 1010. You can almost use any camera in the last 10 years. Personally, I want a sync port. I hate the scam of having buy different receivers for every. That is true if you use sync port, and but not many people do these days, unfortunately, and that's the reason why they don't include one. Although the higher end model does have the sync port, it would be good to have it. You know, I use sync. I haven't used sync port for a while now. I use the wireless command system, and I have been using wireless stuff since, I would say 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I mean, even when I was a Canon guy, I was already using wireless stuff, because I don't work in the studio. I work in location, so any sort of wireless speed light system is good for me, because I don't have to set up anything, and I can control everything wirelessly, which I really need. If I put my speed light, let's say 10-15 feet away from me, I don't always want to go there and come back and adjust things and things. So like, if I can do things all on top of my cameras, the better. And that's why I'm up for this wireless receiver thing. Standing staff, hello. Many features and fast AF, even contrast only, have been feasible for years back, but they've been postponed and tied to technical blah 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 face detect AF to convince a customer. Good, you think that though? That cameras and new cameras are better. Yeah, I had a feeling too, and but that's how they market the camera, and that's how they sell the cameras, and I guess that we're not gonna get away from that. They're gonna be like this for a while. You know, they obviously, just like cars, for instance. You know, they everything that we have these days, even the latest car you buy from the showroom, these are techs. These are technologies that they developed probably 20 years ago. You know, like, don't forget, a lot of the stuff that we have is trickled down from Formula Ones and all the other like top tier technological developments, and ABS, you know, anti-lock braking systems and these sort of thing. You know, they've been existing in Formula One for decades. You know, and then it's something that trickled down to our cars only like 10-15 years later, which is very similar to in the camera world. Any sort of R&D stuff they would have done, you know, years and years ago, and whatever we are using nowadays is already, yeah, that they know and been using in the back end probably for testing purposes for possibly 6-7 years already. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. But this is how it is, unfortunately, and that's why we never really see the true latest stuff. And they have to, and building that sort of time buffer is good for camera releases, because they can time it, they can plan it. If they always give you the latest stuff, it's going to be a danger. If there are some hiccups in the development, then that could mean disaster for the releases. So that means they don't want that to happen. That's why there's always been a kind of gap in between, and not only for like more thorough testings and things like that, but also for any potential hiccups that I just mentioned, you know, that could potentially derail the releases. So I guess this is unavoidable. It's normal for them, and I wish I can see what exactly are they developing right now, because I'm always a curious guy, so it will be quite good to see the future of photography and also cameras. Okay, let's Ray's Way, and I've never experienced any negativity towards my Michael Four Third gear. If anything, folks have been impressed by the size and lenses, considering the capabilities. Good for you. Good for you. Perhaps we're in a different environment. We're exposed to different things, and like I said, you know, like in YouTube, for instance, because I'm throwing my face out publicly, and so the video has been seen by everyone in the world. You know, as long as they get internet access, of course. So
they are entitled to their things, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of trollers are around just basically going around different internet, different stations, different channels, just to leave comments like these. And but like I said, I'm intelligent enough to ignore them. And but I just want to make a point about this sort of thing, and because the world is already too many negative stuff going on, and I just want more happy faces. And everyone should be smiling every single day and be happy about what they do and love what they do, be passionate about what they do, and that's my 2 cents, right, for life. And that's already enough things to worry about, in life. Like now I'm being a dad. I have 2 young kids here. I worry about them, every single day. So that's enough already, man. I don't want any more hassles and things. Like this COVID thing, of course, driving me nuts, business wise. And but look, I'm still happy taking photograph. Every time I hold a camera up, I still really happy and genuinely wanted to go out and shoot. And this is what we do. This is why I've been in photography so long, because I'm passionate about it, and so should you if you're really genuine about taking pictures. And yeah, forget about all this rubbish stuff, and come and join me for coffee time. Have a lovely chat and be happy about everything. Okay. Jeff is a Jimmy man at CNA. uh, Eugene, show me your pictures rather than what camera gear you own. Yeah. I think every time I use that comment, and then people just kind of shut up. In most cases. And Sven said the same thing. Trends comes and go. Yes, indeed, they do come and go. And like I said, you never know. Michael Fourth will become trendy one day, and it could be, very soon as well. Especially now, people are fighting so hard within the big full frame world, and they're gonna continue pushing the envelope into technologies. But there are consumers out there who, just because of this full frame craze, and they just got the camera, and once they try the smaller system and they find that there is not much difference between them, and in terms of taking general pictures and snaps on a daily basis, and they would rather go downsize, and downsizing the kit rather than upsizing them. And unless there is technical reasons behind it, I don't see the point of it. Hi, Jimmy from Japan. I enjoy your video every day. Oh, thank you very much for enjoying my video. That's good to hear. At least I didn't make them for nothing. The hard part is staying in the business while moving against the trend. A real problem in sales in the US is in marketing. People are here know Canon, Nikon, and Sony as cameras. I think this is kind of my point about not just Olympus, but any other brands that are kind of not in the top 3 that you just mentioned there. Marketing plays a big part of it, and how they convey the message, how they or the ability to convey those messages out to the consumers is important, and it is, I would say, it is quite hard, depending because a lot of people are more, they pay more attention to numbers, which is because it's easier to digest, right? It's easier to digest. If I say to you that this camera's got 100 megapixel, it's that 100, that number, that digit, kind of stuck in your head, and then you look at, oh wow, that camera got 100, but that camera got 20. Oh, that's no comparison. That 100 is bigger than 20. Of course, it's better. And that is the exact reason why these manufacturers are throwing numbers at consumers. They're literally throwing numbers at consumers to impress them. 8K videos, 8 is better than 4. Yeah, bigger number, better. High resolutions, yeah, bigger number, better. Oh, high ISO, 1 million against 6400. Of course, the 1 million, man. Look at the number, so much bigger. Everything is about numbers. But what about reality? People don't understand how can they convey reality to people? How can they really do that? This is something they have to figure out. And like I said, I'm not a marketing person. I can't speak for them. And I think the only way to do it is through touch and try. You can try the system on your hand, and maybe just have to demonstrate more demonstrations. And we talked about conversion earlier. I converted a lot of people to switch, not I deliberately doing so, just because through my videos and when I review lenses, for instance, or cameras, I took them out to shoot, and I show the results. And in my channel, I show the pictures. You know, if you've seen some of my videos, I show pictures of my results. So you can achieve this result with my cameras and lens combo that I was using for that video, and that means they are capable. So it's through demonstrations that people believe in the systems. So whether they're going to continue doing this, whether they will do this in the futures, I'm not entirely sure. But I think this is the better way of communications. And the days of, I think, really showing glossy, very beautified marketing materials like glossy magazines, very nicely shot like 15-second commercials are gone. You know, those doesn't really convey too much messages out, to be honest. Is apart from a very nice B-rolls, you know, basically a very nice looking model holding the camera. And it doesn't really convey that message anymore, because people want to know a little bit more about what it can do to you, you know, as a photographer. So I guess they need to do more than just showing beautiful things. You know, of course, you know, Olympus is beautiful, you know, but you know, you can see that from the side angle from some other product B-rolls anyway. You don't need a really nice looking model to do that, and you do need, however, is some action to see exactly what you can achieve with these products. That's my thinking, you know, but I might be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a marketing person, but at the same time, like I said, this is why, like, all these big manufacturers out there now, Nikon, Canon, whatever, you know, they're all throwing numbers at you because it's easier. It's really easy for people to impress people with numbers, and so. But like I said so many times now, don't just believe in numbers, because they don't mean anything unless you know how to exploit them. You know, and would you be shooting at 1 million ISO every single day? Of course not. You're not going to shoot at 1 million. Even if you do use 1 million ISO, they probably not nice. You know, you can't use those 1 million ISO pictures. You know, they are really for emergency purposes. And but yeah, anyway, these are just number things. Let's continue here. Spartacus. I went from Olympus EM1 Mark III to Sony full frame system, and I never look up personally. Yeah, well, you change it, and that's totally cool. And I think Sony has done a fantastic job, you know, over the years. They have done a good job in actually converting people, you know, like because they. Oh yeah, that's one thing about demonstration is Sony did a pretty good job in demonstration, because all these eye detection, full-time eye detection things, full-time face detection, full-time detection, whatever, you know, and they've done a very good demos, and I have to say that they do a lot of that, and then and that's what I call about demonstration, and I think that other manufacturers should do more of that instead of just throwing you numbers, and so I think Sony's marketing is actually pretty good, pretty solid, and that's all I can say, and I respect you to change it over to the system if that's what you need and what you appreciate, and that's okay. And but it is. I have to admit that Sony's marketing is pretty spectacular, and that's why they are here today, because it's exactly how they convey those messages to the consumers. I know that these days, the last couple of years, they've been throwing numbers just like everybody else, but then that's not the point. But it is, you know, it's just. My thinking of how Olympus could improve in terms of in the future when they do marketing. Daniel, and hello from Montreal. Spring is coming. Spring is coming, and we have a lot of blossoms starting to come out now, even though that it's now raining. But yes, I took some blossom photos earlier. I'm hoping the next few days is going to be good, because the blossom, especially the pink blossom, is coming, and I'm hoping to fly the drone through the trees, and that will be really amazing if I can do that. And so I'm waiting for that moment to come. If that comes in the next week or so, I'll be able to fly the drone through. That'll be a really cool B-rolls I'll be showing you guys. But if it's pissing down like now, there's no chance. Okay, and Kai, and just the marketing for material that does not work, and product are more than sufficient. The product definitely more than sufficient, and yeah, it's the method of marketing, I guess, and they need to just convey the message. That's all I can say. Remember I did a video on the EM1 Mark II long-term review, and I did say that Olympus made the EM1 Mark II. It is now becoming the iconic cult cameras. I think you guys wouldn't disagree with me that EM1 Mark II is an iconic camera within Olympus, because that changed a lot of stuff for Olympus. It also brought people like myself, a professional, into the Olympus world, because this is the very camera that changes, that give us that tool, that ability to shoot things professionally. And but the thing is, the camera became so iconic and so many units is all because of people trying them and through word of mouth, and not actually by the marketing materials. And it shows it, and in many ways that this can be marketed a lot better, and they could have sold, I don't know, maybe twice as much, and maybe even 3 times as much as units, and compared to now, by doing a better job in communicating. But at the time, it's hard to say that. I mean, I don't work behind the scene. I wasn't even close to Olympus. I didn't know anybody there, and but that's how I saw it. And without me trying the camera, I wouldn't know. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't have a clue about how it can perform in my hands. And only after trying it, I keep screaming to other people that he's actually pretty cool. And just like some of you guys said as well, like once your friend tried the camera in the hand, they actually all praised it, how good it is. Yeah, exactly. Through trying, through word of mouth, individual word of mouth who use the cameras and then give it to people to try. But to sell cameras that way is going to be a little bit tricky, and to sell cameras like that is always going to be slow. It's going to be organic, and if you want to sell more, you're going to have to do more than just have, the products are great, it sells itself, but at the same time, with a bit of marketing, you can kind of boost the number quite a bit, and then so EM1 Mark II is a fantastic camera. This is I always said that, that's why I'm keeping one EM1 Mark II, and I'm not going to sell that camera, and I already sold one already, but I'm keeping the silver one that I have, and that is the reminder of me why I chose Micro Four Third, because that's such an iconic camera that I would never let go of that camera. Nor my Pen F. I love my Pen F. George, why does the EVF get laggy in manual mode? Does it? Mine doesn't. Interesting. Can anybody help? I'm not entirely sure. And George, I never experienced a laggy EVF before in manual mode, unless you have Pro Capture enabled, because that usually gives you that kind of laggy visual because it's buffering when you have press it. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. And if it's like this all the time, you may want to check out, maybe just reset the camera just to try it out. And but I have literally all the current Olympus cameras, and I've been using them very frequently, especially EM1 X Mark III and the Mark II, and I rotate them quite a bit because for filming, and I never really witnessed any laggy EVFs before in any mode, and I shoot manual a lot, as you can imagine, and so I don't see that. So I'm quite curious about why that would happen. Oh, D-Diver, Americans just trust me, size is everything. That's a response to the earlier comment. Great stuff. Okay, credit flat. Low light noise is an issue now with AI. It's not an issue now for AI noise reduction in post-production. Yes, and I totally dig it. I totally agree with you, and especially with the DxO, I think really is by far one of the best out there now in terms of AI reduction, noise reduction, especially for Olympus cameras, and is fantastic. Not sure a lot of you actually saw my review on the DxO Photo Lab 4, and that story was actually true. And when I mentioned it in the video, I said I actually accidentally forgot to reset my ISO to base ISO. Yep. So what happened is I went out to a job, and then that's the one of the rare jobs that I actually received last year, and then 2020. I went to shoot in their flat, and then as a family portrait session. So I went to the flat to shoot something natural light. I don't want to pump any flash out because there were kids and the babies there. So I boosted the ISOs to and I can't remember now. I think it was 2,000, 2,500, something like that. And I don't usually shoot that high ISO, even in indoor, because I have 1.2 lenses, and but the thing is, capturing babies is different, because baby fidgets a lot, so like they just move very quickly and erratically, and I cannot predict the movement. So the only way to do is to freeze the moment. So I have to use higher shutter speed to do that, and because of that, I boost the ISO, just have enough shutter speed to freeze that frame, instead of having blur arms and fingers and whatever. And so that's why I boost the ISO. But anyway, I set the ISO to 2500, and I forgot. Yeah, one of the few cases I forgot. That probably just show how rusty I was last year, because I haven't really been shooting many. And then I went outside. We went to Hyde Park in London to do the outdoor shoot, the outdoor session. And I completely forgot to reset my ISO to base to 200 or 400. And I shot the entire bloody session in 2500, and when I didn't even notice it until like literally 10 minutes before the session ended, and I realized on my back screen is that, gosh, my ISO is 2500. I've been shooting. No wonder my shutter speed is so high, because I was thinking why my shutter speed is so high, and then I was like, gosh. It was because the ISO was set incorrectly. But anyway, so that's to cut the long story short. I've gone back. Obviously, I cannot reshoot everything. I had to live with my mistake, the 2500. I went back home. Usually, my workflow would be Lightroom, import, manage them, flag them, code them, and process them with my presets and stuff like that. Yep. So this time, no, I did the complete edit through DxO Photo Lab, and then so instead of me doing everything, I just basically turn on AI reduction, and then a batch edit them, just batch reduce the noise reduction, bang, everything. Gosh, the result was just amazing. I couldn't believe my eyes because I know even if you shoot in bright daylight, you shouldn't see that much noise, but trust me, and if you look at the shadow areas, and you will see like lots of little speckles and noise there. People may not see it, but as a pro who see images a lot, I do notice them. But this AI noise reduction thing really something. It literally rid all the noise I could see from the image. It's all makes the image looks like almost is shot at ISO 400. I wouldn't say go as far as 200, but ISO 400. And that really what amazed me, and really was. And when I delivered those photos to my clients, they were over the moon. They're like, "Ooh, wow, so lovely pictures." Blah blah blah. And then, yeah, they're long-term clients. They always hire me. And then this is my third photo shoot with them now, and over the last 2 years, but brilliant, And they accepted the photos, obviously, always smiling, and then come back to me. "Oh, loved your photos. Quality is top notch," and things like that. But like, obviously, I didn't tell them that I made the mistakes. But so you gotta keep the secret. Yeah, don't tell my clients about that. I'll be dead. But actually, they may not understand it, but it's something that I wanted to share. The story that I said in the DxO Photo Lab review that I made is 100% true. It wasn't lie. I didn't lie. Is so true. I even have the raw files still. If you want to see them, they're shot in so high ISO. I couldn't believe myself. But yeah, the AI reduction rescued me, and I'm telling you, really truly rescued me. And oh, hello Randy, how are you? That's good to see you. Good to see you. Bigger the better. I keep seeing a lot of comments saying bigger the better. Lauren, and yeah, they call this smaller MFT cameras toys. I will admit the EM10 Mark II is a little like having a miniature camera. As you age, you can shake off what other thing you do better to better degree. Yeah, it is. Yes, it's kind of unfortunate being people think when you have a smaller thing, they become toy. By default, whether is capable or not, they just think that way. But never mind. I usually just ignore them anyway. And if I do receive a comment on a day like this, I just say, yeah, I don't mind. Whatever you say, I just want to take photos. Micro Four Thirds system may die out one day, but so did film, and there is plenty of people who still use that system. Yeah, yep. no one can predict the future, and that's true. No one can, and we shall see. There may be another format come out. You never know. At the moment, just there are so many things going on now, and looks like full frame isn't going anywhere. It hasn't so for the last century. And, but don't forget, full frame or 135. I hate people calling it full frame. Do they call it full frame? Seriously, because every camera is full frame anyway. I think some of you mentioned that before. It is true. What is full frame? Is a weird word, right? And then so medium format is bigger than full frame. So what do you call them? Bigger than full frame? It really doesn't make sense that terminology is there. Full frame doesn't make sense. I would like to use it as the old film days when we just say call 135, 120, 110, just a number system that we used to use. And that's pretty cool, right? Just having a format number. I love using format number. That's why I still even today I still refer full frame as 135 because that's basically what it is. Medium format is 120, and technically, the Micro Four Thirds is the actual sensor size is very close to 110. And then 110 is actually another small film format back in the old days. So that is cool, right? And so maybe they should change the names to 135, 110, 120 instead of just keep calling them full frame, better than full frame, smaller than full frame, whatever they call it these days. It's all confusing. Victor, and as not a pro, I choose Olympus because it's at the time I looked into the interchangeable camera, which has had. Sorry, my eyes are not very good. Which should have nice features like bracketing, HDR, and at the same time easy to use for others. Yeah, I mean, I think the ease of use of Olympus cameras is often overlooked. The least computational thing that Olympus has done, like live com and live bulb, yeah, seriously, they are such a lifesaver for people who do that sort of thing a lot, even just for fun. Remember in the old days, I don't know how old you guys are, but but I remember when I first started photography and the film days, to take really good firework photographs is extremely challenging. A lot of guesswork there and trial and errors. You have to use a card to block the exposures, and then you have to kind of release it, block it, release it, to do that sort of composite manually. And but live com, seriously, it just makes the entire process completely redundant. All you just see the screen, they just watch it build up on the back of the screen, and they're like 30 seconds later, ping, job done. And I have the perfectly composed, exposed, and with everything that I want in a frame, without having to guess anymore. This is something that I think is really awesome. And I would like to do a demonstration for that, but obviously, I don't have any fireworks. It's illegal to have fireworks unless you're in October towards the what is it, Halloween. And then so trying to use an old film camera, trying to do the same shot. Yeah, you will see me using a card. Yeah, trying to lift it up and down, and have to sit there with a cable released. It's hard work, Like the old days of capturing fireworks is nightmare. Is really nightmare. And these days, seriously, if you guys haven't you are too young to remember anything films, and I'm telling you, like it is it's not something you want to try. Steve, any news on OMD products being announced this month? Nope. And even if I know anything, you'd think that I could possibly announce it without Olympus permission? I would probably have a bunch of assassin out there, like within 5 minutes, if I say something. So I probably can't do that. Sorry, mate, Steve. And I don't think I can say anything or comment on anything. All I can say that there will be new products this year, and but exactly when, and I don't know, and I cannot tell. But like I said, if you haven't seen my last week's stream, and there will be more stuff, more exciting stuff in 2022 rather than this year. And although that I know there's some exciting stuff is coming out and later this year, so just stay tuned with Olympus announcement. Of course, if you stay tuned in this channel, I will bring it out to you as well as soon as I have anything and that I'm allowed to talk about, then I'll be able to share with you guys. So yeah, remember, if you haven't subscribed my channel, remember to hit that button and put on the bell notification so you know when I'll do that. Carmen, hello, how are you, Carmen? And all cameras have their limitations, but working within those limitations maximize the gains that can be achieved. There is no right camera. Exactly. There is no right camera or perfect cameras in that sense. And I've used literally, I wouldn't say hundreds, but like enough cameras over the course of 16, 17 years that I've been playing with cameras and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a perfect camera for everything, and there is a camera perfect for a job. Yes, there is, and but there isn't any cameras out there that can do everything, literally everything that I want to do. No, I mean sometimes. I mean, the reason I still go out with an EM5 and because it's just lightweight, just small. I don't take my EM1 when I go traveling. I just take the EM5 instead. But for things like that, and I use the EM ones and the EM1X, and especially if I go to something really hostile. So it is just finding the right tool for the right job and maximize what the camera provides you. And Marco, and I very much enjoy the pictures of Onika de Basson token in 1948. Oh, now throwing some names out. HCB is always one of my heroes in street photography. Always love his work, and he did inspire me a lot in my photography, especially early days. So that is pretty cool. Eric say that he's a 6'6" American. Michael Four Thirds is not too small. Interesting to get your perspective. Now I know 6'6" is also okay. So you must be talking about those 7-footer who hates Michael Four Thirds then. We just don't know. Rob, and hi everyone, be sure to support Jimmy and hit the like button. Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Rob, for promoting me. Thank you. And you're always a great supporter. Rob is a good friend, and it's good that we have a really close-knitted Michael Four Thirds community, to be quite honest. I like, obviously Rob, Peter, Robin, and we are a friendly group here. And Rob, we can't wait for another multi-link live stream again, and that will be really cool. Maybe we do that one day very soon. Yeah, let's do that. And so we can all go to Rob's house and have a drink. Carmen also say choice is a wonderful thing, and we all different. Yes, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. Choice is definitely a good thing. We all need choices. You don't want to be dictated. You don't want to be like, just tell you what to do, and you're gonna have to make up your own mind and just make a decision yourself. What is good for you? Without a choice, you can't make that decision, right? So it's always good to have choices. And Unbroken said, I agree, but here one more person complained about the cameras not fitting in their pockets, and that's the most ridiculous judging piece of equipment. Sublime, yes, Sublime. And no, it doesn't suck. People who belittle Michael Four Thirds are just coping with the fact that there's a format out there that's is successful. That isn't their choice. Yep. Who can fit a camera, a proper capable cameras in the jacket pocket, man? The smallest Michael Four Thirds camera isn't from Olympus, of course, and there's the Panasonic GM1. Get that camera, throw in a pancake lens on it. That is portable. I'm thinking about, that is probably the smallest Michael Four Thirds interchangeable digital camera you can get on the market, and that thing can slip into your pocket, and that's amazing. That's I like my EM5. That's tiny. If you throw in a pancake lens, that's tiny. You can fit in the jacket, but a big jacket pocket. But can you do that in a bigger format? Absolutely not. You can't do that at all. And so if you want something light and very discreet, if you want to go out and just be lightweight, just no bags attached, and Michael Four Thirds is probably the best choice you can have. Najam, and Volvian is great too. Volvian is great. I do like the technological inventions in there, and I do think that they should exploit it more. But at the moment in time, I think that it's quite a tricky thing because it's such a proprietary thing, and then not many raw editors can exploit what the Foveon sensor is giving you, and that's probably one of the reasons that they're struggling to take up in the photographic world. I agree, it's actually a fabulous invention of the Foveon, and they could done a lot more, but they needed the support from the post-editing software developments, and unfortunately at the moment they are struggling, and just like Fuji, actually the X-Tran sensors, they are good, but then they only a number of softwares that can exploit that sort of details and that sort of color reproductions. At the moment I think it's Capture One, that is pretty good with the Fuji X-Tran files. Lightroom isn't great at all for that, so it is really tricky when you're using a proprietary technology for sensors. So it's unfortunately it's a little bit difficult to satisfy everybody, but there is a solution. You just have to make sure that you choose the right solutions to exploit those technologies and make sure it works for you. Right, Eric, do you have any advice for improving my JPEGs in camera? I've been happy with my Lumix results and have struggled at times with Olympus shoot a lot of soccers. Right. I'm pretty sure Rob can probably guide you there, but in my experience, a lot of the Olympus JPEG is overdone in a couple of areas. First of all, is noise reductions, and regardless whether you shoot at base ISO 200 or 6400, I think even at base ISO 200, they have applied some noise reduction, so it kind of smudged up the detail a little bit, and that's the exact reason why I really never shoot JPEG for that matter. But I can completely see your point here. If you shoot a lot of soccers, which is football, and then by the way in England, and if you shoot a lot of soccers and shooting JPEGs is easier for you, and so you may want to turn down the noise reduction. That's the first thing, and second, maybe choose a more neutral profile. Depending on what sort of picture profile you choose in JPEG mode, and sometimes they may just a bit overkill in saturations as well. So just these two areas really, because generally I think Olympus give you really lovely colors by default, so you don't have to mess around it too much. But the noise reduction area definitely something that I didn't quite like. I always turn it off, and then if I see noise, I just apply noise reduction in post. And if you shoot JPEG, you can apply noise reduction in JPEG pretty quickly in batch process. So once you code the images that you want to use, just batch apply noise reduction to the whole thing, and it should be quite easy to do. I'd rather do that in post rather than in camera, because the noise reduction is a bit aggressive in my opinion. They could have done it a little bit better, but you can turn it off if you really want to. Hello, Odd Todd. And how do you have any experience with the old Zigo digital lenses and what? Oh yes, I have the old 4-third lenses. In fact, one of my favorite lenses is the 35-100 f2 Zigo lens for portrait shoot. I love that lens a lot. It's no problem using an EM1 Mark II. Not at all. It's very capable, and not in continuous AF mode, I have to say. And it works brilliantly in single AF, and but you have to get the right adapter. So I would personally recommend you to get the Olympus adapter. You can use the Panasonic 4-third to micro 4-third adapter. It works as well, but the Olympus, just to me, is just native to the brand. So it's not so much about supporting the brand, but it just because it's made for Olympus. So I've just thought that, in hindsight, in my mind, I think that it would probably work a little bit better if you use an Olympus 4-third lens and an Olympus adapter to an Olympus micro 4-third cameras, and you just got everything should gel together quite well. But it's no problem. I have no problem using them, and it's actually pretty good. You can't expect the same speed as the modern micro 4-third lenses because they are designed differently, and also some of the older Zuiko lenses doesn't have the silent motor in the SWD motor, so they can be a bit noisy and a bit slow to focus as well. So coupled with the adapter itself, it slows things down even further. So just be mindful about that, and you can't expect the same speed and same performance compared to the newer lenses designed specifically for micro 4-third. But however, You can use it. There's no problem with that. Image quality is as good as ever, because just a lens, right? Just a lens. So the image quality doesn't get degradations at all. You get the same quality, and so you should be able to get some beautiful images from it. And like I did with my 35-100, is totally feasible and workable. Hope that answer your question there. And Camille, Image Resources.com did a similar IBIS test between XT4, GX5, and A6000 and EM1 Mark II. Oh, that's probably responding to my earlier comment on the Matthias mirrorless lesson IBIS test. Okay, there you go. That's another source that you can check it out. Randy have received my EM10 Mark II for dashcam video. He used the EM10 Mark II as a dashcam. Brilliant. What a cool compact camera. Feels so awesome in your hand. Yeah, the EM1 Mark II is really good feel because it's actually a full metal camera, right? That thing. And it is brilliant. That thing is I think one of the best EM10 ever. The EM1 the Mark II. I love the Mark IV. The Mark IV is brilliant. I have the Mark IV. I have the Mark IV right here, and the Mark IV is brilliant as well. But it just depends on what sort of feel to it. But EM10 Mark II you can get it for quite cheap now, so it's brilliant. But I didn't expect you're gonna use it for dash cam. That's something quite refreshing to see. And DIY filmmaker, I love Michael Four Third. So do I. So do I. And Carmen, when something fits like a glove, you need a very good reason to change. There you go. Find what works for you, and then you stick with it, right? That's a simple thing. It's not very hard to decide. If you find something that really kind of like just feels good, it's just like the extension of your body, right? The camera is, and then it just you can't explain that sort of feeling once you have that attachment to it. Yeah, why change? It works for you. It works for you. And many people use the camera for 3, 4, 5, 6 years anyway. There's no urgency to upgrade to change systems, and by then the world might have changed already. So you never know. And Gerald, that's exactly what I've been saying to. Anyway, I missed a comment here. I came from ATD, liked the idea of mirrorless, didn't like the French Sony, but watched Joe Elderman and you and Peter and Rob and tried the EM10 Mark II, never looked back, and now have the EM5 Mark II as well. Thank you, Matthew, for watching our channels, and it's pretty good, right? But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and it's the experience that counts. And shooting with Michael Four Third is always an experience on its own, and it's something that you don't know until you really have the camera on your hand, because shooting small is very refreshing. I can tell you that, especially having used full frame for so long and suddenly moving to a much smaller system is brilliant. It really is eye-opening and refreshing to just having this light system in your hands, which is really good. Morning, Robert. Good morning from Brisbane, and it's 2:30 a.m. Oh my goodness me. Sorry about to keep you awake, and don't worry, I'm finishing very soon. I'm just trying to wrap up and trying to get to the end of the comment section here now, and I'm skipping a little bit, but that's kind of the usual my live stream anyway. I'm so behind with the comment section. If I have to read every single comment out, I'll probably still be here at 8 o'clock. So I'm trying to skip through something, and trying to wrap it up, as we are now approaching 2.5 hours now, which is the usual time these days. But I'm glad that you guys are still here, and it's so fun to chat to you guys. I love it, and it's always great to have this chat every week, and it's my highlight of the week. Trying to get away from everything and focus on talking to the like-minded people. How's that? Talking to friends online. That's brilliant, right? Okay. Oh, someone mentioned about Q, the Pentax Q system. They are so cool. I love those tiny little cameras, and I was so tempted to get some, but I couldn't find any nice example in the UK now, and it never really took off in the UK. Even though at the time I wanted to get some, but they were so bloody expensive, and so I may if I go to Japan at some point, and I may just pick some over there, because I just adore those tiny little lenses and tiny little cameras, and just I thought it's cool. I don't care about the image quality. I just want it. It just looks so cute just looking at them. And mind you, I do have the old Pentax 110 system and film cameras. I actually have a collection of them. I love them as well, and I have all the lenses. In fact, those lenses can work with Micro Four Thirds cameras in full frames. I mean, it covers the whole sensor because it is made for those negatives. Like I mentioned earlier, the 110 films are very similar in size compared to Micro Four Thirds sensors. So those lenses actually work very well with the Micro Four Thirds sensor, and they are dinky. They're like so tiny, and I can actually have like the whole collection of lenses, which is about I think 6 or 7 of them. All these lenses together fit in one of those Olympus pouches. You know, these little pouches. I can fit all of them in one pouch. That's how small these lenses are. They are really fun to shoot. Unfortunately, they're only one aperture though, 2.8 or whatever, and then you can't change the aperture. There's no blades there because aperture is actually controlled in the camera body itself, and so you always fix at 2.8, and which is a bit of a bummer, but yeah, it's okay. 2.8 is nothing, and menu focus is all menu focus. Right, Chris downloaded some whatever Mark II RAW files and was impressed, even at 6400 on DxO Photo Lab, and just order one with the grip. Well, congratulations, Chris! And now you see, it's actually okay, right? You know, once you try them, once you see the files, once you assess what it is, it's not much difference compared to most systems. People are just over exaggerating the differences between them, and I know from a technical point of view, yes, there is some technical differences, but in reality, in real life usage, the difference is not as significant as some might think. And I'm just speaking from experience. I'm not trying to sell you Olympus or anything like that, not at all. You know, you're very welcome to use other system, but it's just only speaking from experience. That I think the Micro Four Thirds files are capable. They're very capable files. John, hello everyone. Better late than never. You're not late. I'm still here. Although that, having said that, I think it's nearly time to wrap up because I don't want to keep everybody for too long. And I know I can talk non-stop, right? Sorry about that. Unless you guys are tired of me, then I'll just shut up. Voigtlander has the 29.8 for Micro Four Thirds. And do you think Olympus Panasonic would ever make an autofocus lens for that such large aperture? Never say never. Never say never. I don't know. But in the Olympus roadmap, at least, they did mention about fast prime lenses. So that could be the reason to maybe kind of speculate something, but at this moment in time I don't know exactly what those fast prime lenses are. And equally Panasonic, like the video that I did last week, and I did talk about Panasonic, the roundtable talk that they did in Japan. The Panasonic boss did actually or the representative, not the boss, the Panasonic representative did mention something about new lenses. So could be, and we just don't know whether they will make as big as the 0.8, but there could be some fast lenses coming out in the near future, so we shall see what happens. But having said that, Laowa did announce their 0.95 series of lenses, the Argus lenses for Micro Four Thirds. The first one is the 25 f95, so that will be quite interesting to see, and I'm pretty sure that I will test it as soon as it becomes available, and I will let you guys know how that goes. Yeah, and I have the EM5 Mark II for landscape. I use 17 1.8, 9 to 18. I'm an upgraded lens before camera, maybe 17 1.2 Pro, unless I find a cheaper alternative that is great for landscape. Yeah, I mean, if you do you need the bright aperture, the 1.2? You know, obviously there are other options, especially for landscape. You probably want a weather seal version of a lens, and the equally amazing 12 to 40 2.8 Pro is good. It's got the range as well, and you can also use the new 12 to 45 f4 Pro. That's tiny and also weather sealed, but the 17 1.2 is brilliant. You know, I love that lens. That's my workhorse lens, the 17 1.2. I have it in my bag literally all the time, and that lens is good for literally everything. For me, that's my everyday lens, my daily driver. The 25 1.2 is great as well, and but that's obviously probably a bit tight for your landscape work. 17 is good. I like the 17 myself. Nearly there, nearly there. Yes, yes. Frank, purist put Micro Four Third down. In Japan, EM10 Mark III was the bestseller, and where you would add the 6K 100 megapixel, where would you view a smartphone boasting 48 megapixels still a small sensor? Yep, you are very true there, depending on the medium that you're going to display your work. Fantastic. Oh, nice. Mario, hello Mario. The Jimmy, Olympus needs a new LCD and new EVF, that's all. Mario is a cool dude. And yeah, I don't disagree. And I think that any new high-res EVF is a must for my aging eyes. Because I can't see too well these days. I don't know whether because I'm sitting down too much looking at the screen, but having a high-res EVF would definitely help me to assess the actual focusing if I'm doing menu stuff. But yeah, and LCD, yeah, I don't mind the LCD currently, but the EVF, definitely the EVF, it needs to be a high res. Okay, Michael Forthert is not the best, and then is there anyone here compared to a modern 35 mil? I have, and then like I said, I didn't disagree about technological advances and also differences between the 35 and the Micro Four Third, and I didn't disagree that. I'm just saying in this particular video is about choosing the best tool for the right job, the best job for best tool for the best job. Right tool for the right job. What I'm talking about, right tool for the right job, and more than anything else, that's all. You know, it's not a debate about which one is better technically, and it's nothing at all about comparing to full frame or medium format. You know, they all have their merits in this market, and I think that the 35 mil, you know, I came from that background there, and is perfectly okay. You know, if you need that sort of performances, you need that sort of aesthetic, you know, and yeah, this that will be the tool for you. And I wouldn't in any way disagree or disapprove anything that you want to say, but at the same time, I'm just saying the Micro Four Third is just good for me, you know, and for what I do in the market that I'm working in right now. Just moving on. Matthew, full frame and like the A3 Plus. Oh, you talk about print sizes, or perhaps are you probably responding to other people? Gert actually said full frame is a small format. I also use 6x7 4x5. Well, like I said earlier, you know, yes, it is. The 135 is an old small format, right? You know, back in the old days, and they were the smallest format on the market. And many commercial people, you know, basically what we experience today about Micro Four Third, many olden commercial practices, they disapprove 135 format because they were too small. The only reason is because they're so used to receiving negatives and prints in from a medium format, from 120 format, so even larger format. So they're so used to those that size of negatives, so they never really consider 135 is a workable solution. And don't forget, back in those days as well, the negatives weren't that advanced, so the grain sizes were a lot coarser, a lot bigger, so they may not be able to print big from the 135. But later on in the 80s and 70s, so in 80s and 90s, they make a technological push. So they managed to create a lot of negatives that are a lot finer in grain sizes, and color reproduction is a lot better, and hence you know, you see much sharper pictures that you can blow up eventually. So that is what changes the 135 world, so to speak. And now we're having Micro Four Third kind of like in a similar stage. And the earlier Four Third, yes, you know, it wasn't you know all that, you know, the Four Third sensor were only, I don't know what, 6 to 8 megapixel, the early days ones, and then we kind of go to 12 and 16, then now 20 megapixels, which to most people is actually more than enough in terms of resolutions. But you know, if you really purely talking about dynamic range and things like that. And yeah, I mean, there are different systems out there to provide different sort of level of dynamic range, and depending on how much you would need them. And if you do a lot of high contrasting stuff and work like that, and perhaps a high dynamic range sensor could be the critical requirement for your needs. But other than that, I think the Micro Four Thirty is definitely more than sufficient for majority of the photographers out there. Let's continue here. If you bought a Micro Four Third lens and there's no reason why you shouldn't fit on a camera, you should. You thought you replying? Sorry, I can't see who's replying who at the moment from my control panel here. Everything just pops up. Okay, nearly there now. Okay. By the way, any news on the delivery time of the 150 to 400 Pro? Depending on where you are, L, and I'm not entirely sure. In the UK, we're starting to have delivery this month, I think, and I think I heard some people already got the delivery, so I'm not entirely sure because they are getting very scattered delivery from Japan, and the production is still running in full capacity, but they can only produce so many lenses per day, and which what Olympus actually did address that publicly 2 weeks ago on an announcement saying that they apologize for the delay, but the reason is because they never expected this sort of demand for that lens, and so that's why the delay is coming. Yeah, even if you order today, you probably won't get this lens for at least another year or maybe 18 months even. So for those early buyers who already placed the pre-order that in November or December last year, you probably get their delivery sometime this year, and starting from now until maybe to a summertime, autumn time. So unfortunately, I can't give you a definitive timeline or exactly when you're going to get the lens. So it's there. Don't worry, it's there, and it's going to be being produced, and you'll be super happy about it. I've seen the photos, I've seen everything, and it's really, really brilliant. The performance I'm talking about, I haven't personally tried the lens, although I keep saying that I would like to. And Olympus, please give me the lens, please. I just want that lens. And let's move on towards the end, trying to wrap this up in the next 2 minutes, and that will be good. It's been fantastic. You guys have been always so fantastic on my live stream, so engaging, and also be patient. You guys are so patient listening to me, and always have fun with you guys. And like I said, I really hope one day I'm gonna have a big event, just have all of you guys here having a barbecue, and yeah, just have some fun together. Photo walk. I keep talking about photo walk. We should do photo walks together. That would be cool. That would be really awesome. Okay, I am going to wrap this up, and let's see. I'm just gonna scroll down to the end now. Sorry guys, I'm gonna miss some of your comments, and because otherwise I will still be here later. Anyway, so good, and thank you guys for coming in here and join my yet another very busy live stream, and a very fun live stream that I have here. Thank you for all your support as usual. I'm just really appreciating all of you guys being here with me all day. So that's good. So hopefully you guys enjoy this week, and look out for my Sunday video, which is coming out this Sunday at 12 p.m. and I will try to resume my normal schedule hopefully in a couple of weeks time. At the moment I still got a lot of backlog videos I haven't done because of the lockdown that we had in the last 3 months. The kids literally just go back to school this week, so now I have my normal working hours again, so I don't have to work late nights, and so that's quite good from my perspective. But at the same time, I still have a lot of things to catch up, so I still kind of not releasing my Tuesday episode, which I normally do, and I'm still only doing live stream on Wednesdays and a video on Sunday. So until things kind of get back to normal, then I'll be able to do my usual schedules again. So just please bear with me for that. Other than that, I'm a happy guy, I'm a happy dude, and I'm hoping that you guys are also happy as well. So stay positive, stay safe, and Remember, if you're in the UK, you want to pick up one of these magazine here, and you have my face on the back of the magazine, you are very welcome to do that. Very welcome to do so. It's called the Professional Photo Magazine, and I think they are on sale for $3.99, I think, and that's all it is. If you want a signature from me, I'm very happy to do it. Just joking. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming in, and once again, I'm gonna play you my cinematic piece shot on Olympus camera. So until next time, I will see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.